Welcome to the CXO Corner and the Tech Journal podcast, where we hear stories and insights from technology leaders who aren't afraid to be ambitious. I'm Jillian Viner, managing editor of the Tech Journal at Insight. Today, we're talking to Nina Harding to get a fresh take on the technology partner ecosystem. Nina has more than 25 years in tech, with much of that time devoted to building relationships and unlocking the greater power of the partner community. And today, Nina is the Corporate Vice President of Global Partner Solutions in the US for Microsoft. Welcome, Nina. Thank you so much for joining us for a Tech Journal CXO Corner podcast. It's so nice to have you here.
Oh, thanks so much for inviting me. I'm excited about this opportunity.
So, we've been really challenging ourselves lately to think outside the box. The world is changing, technology is changing, and it's like every other day there's a new problem, right? And so if we don't kind of start thinking about things differently, approaching problems with different solutions or fresh perspectives, we're not really going to get anywhere. So I'm really excited to talk to you today, particularly because you, I believe, have a really fresh take and a strong understanding about the partner community and the power of the partner community. So I first just want to ask you, tell me a quick rundown of your role today. I understand you've been in this sort of partnership realm for many years. So I'm curious if you can, explain what was it like when you maybe first entered the scene, and what does that partner ecosystem look like today?
Sure. So I actually love, and I think the most magical part of my whole career has been in working with partners because it's the 1+1=11. I mean, we really together can change the direction of companies, influence how they land. I think how I got started in it is I was a student at Dartmouth, and way back when we had technology classes, and I took some computer science classes. But Oracle, back in the day, this was early 90s, came out to interview for computer science students. And I'm not computer science by any stretch of the imagination. I'm not a strong technologist, but I really was excited about technology in the field. And so I knocked on the recruiter's door and said, hey, can I just talk to you if there are other opportunities at Oracle outside of being in the computer science realm? And fortunately, it was the right thing. Lesson is take an initiative, right? Think outside of the box a little bit.
Right.
And had the opportunity then to join the recruiting team for Oracle. From there, I moved into sales programs and looking at the world of how do you look at a customer base and start to segment and organize your sales force. And then from there, I went into customer programs, which was really about understanding the value that the customers were learning and receiving from the technology. From there, I realized that the magic in the whole equation is you have the technology and you have the customer, but oftentimes it's the partners that make that transition. And that is what got me very excited. And from that point forward, I always have been in the partner world. It's the most complex, it's the most interesting. You get to use marketing, technical skills, go-to-market, sales skills, financial skills. And so I just think if you're at that point where you're trying to think out of the box about your career and where you're headed, it's an amazing way to show up. And the value proposition of the partners is incredible. They bring so much to the table that we as a technology firm, we can do so much with our technology, and the partners oftentimes have the imagination on how it shows up at the customer side, how it changes the way they go about doing business.
Yeah, your LinkedIn profile specifically calls out that you talk a lot about hashtag partners make more possible.
Mm-hmm.
Why is that? I mean, Microsoft's a massive company. There's lots of talent there. Your guys are doing extraordinary things. Why is that partner connection so vital to making more possible?
Well, obviously, when you're talking to a customer, right, you want to understand and do more listening than speaking. And you want to hear what their challenges are. Oftentimes, that is what sometimes earns the sale, right? The ability to understand their problems and find a solution that meets it. But the partners are oftentimes the ones that are inside of the companies and they're actually doing the implementations and they're working through the challenges and the problems. They speak the language of the partners, they speak the language of the industry. We try to do the same, but they're living and breathing and shoulder to shoulder oftentimes with the employees at the company. And so they're also hearing not just about the problem that they're trying to solve, but maybe the next problem and the third problem and the fourth problem. So I look at the partners as this magic of understanding not only how to solve with our technology their current problems, but explore how we really drive innovation, that next chapter. How do we really improve what's happening at the client site? That's with the services partners. With the channel partners or our resellers and the sales side, they really are an extension, not only of our technology and selling, but of our culture and bringing that into all these different companies of different sizes all around the globe. Microsoft is perhaps big, but we're not everywhere. We can't be everywhere. And that's where the power of our ecosystem helps us be present and solve the problems for any size company around the globe.
I love that. And we at Insight were one of those partners, and we always talk about ourselves as really being the extension of those companies' teams. So as you're saying, Microsoft really does offer the technology, this deep solutions, and then having that relationship on a deeper level helps bring all those pieces together. I heard you say before this concept of Imagineers. It makes me think of Disney, which I love, but it also just makes me think, there's something to that. There's something you're not just asking, you're tapping a partner to help you implement something. There's something else to that relationship that even you at Microsoft are asking for. It's not just the client asking for this, you're asking for it too.
Absolutely. I always credit Disney with that. favorite favorite concepts ever. So well done, Disney, on that. But that the Imagineering, it's the combination of the art of the possible, or even sometimes stretching beyond the possible to the impossible. And then how do you bring engineering to it to make it happen in real? It's magic. And that's really what I think some of the secret sauce is of our partners. And if we can fuel them and give them the best skilling and the best talents on our products, then they're the ones that take that engineering side and then they imagineer the possible for our clients.
You've been in a partner role for many years. You've seen the evolution of the partner community. Where do you Based on what you've seen when you first started, have you seen a lot of change in mentality? Have you seen more of that Imagineering perspective come through, especially recently?
It's a great question. I think where the concept of the word channel originated from is because it was a channel to sell your goods, right? And historically, I think when we looked at partnership, it was much more about that. Who can who can go out there and sell our goods? Today, I think it has evolved into a much more magical place, which is a place where we're invited into the inner circle of companies where they actually share what their challenges are, what they are trying to do, and we're invited in with our partners to help solve those tough questions that they're trying to answer. So it's moved from this sales channel into Disney's word, Imagineering channel, where it's the art of the possible. I really think that also comes down to trust. We've built relationships now. The Where you might have in the past gone in for a project and you were in and out for a project. Now you're in for maybe the initial project, but then you're learning about what's happening in the company. You're hearing about the problems, and then you're looking to how can you solve the next one. So that trusted advisory relationship is much more relevant today than it was in the past.
Yeah, that's definitely something we've been thinking a lot here at Insight. We've recently emerged as this really new breakthrough category of being the leading solutions integrator. And to your point about, looking at the channel differently, we looked around and noticed that there was a gap for partners, for technology providers. Clients needed a lot more from their technology partner. OEMs like Microsoft needed a lot more from those channel partners. And so the evolution has been happening, I feel like kind of quietly in the background. I don't know if you'd agree with that.
I
I feel
totally,
like you've
yeah,
seen it, I think, for a few years, or at least have been hinting that this needs to happen, that it's more than just this reseller mentality. Um,
absolutely. And it's listening. It's listening and then responding versus before it was a push and a sale. Now it's really, hey, we're here to collaborate. We're here to solve. We're here to help, right? That's
which
a really
maybe surprises. Do you think that surprises some company leaders, or have they kind of already seen this, that partnerships, it really is that triangle that you were talking about that
Yeah,
exists?
yeah. I mean, it is. I don't know if it surprises them. I think they are welcoming it. I think they need it. The world has become much more complex. Technology is much more a part of how companies deliver their goods. If they're in distribution, right, or in financial services, the offerings are much more about what that digital experience is. So they're looking for all of us, right, to come in and help solve those challenges that they're up against.
Yeah. And we've been talking a lot about those partnerships as business entities, but you also have a very personal story or personal experience around that meaning of trust in a partnership. Will you share your story with me?
I think at the essence of partnership is trust, and that trust is to drive connection and then hopefully impact. You're absolutely right. I've been in the partner game for quite some time, but I learned the difference between working with partners and managing partnerships to truly being a partner when I faced a personal situation. Back in 2008, I had a wonderful trip to Jamaica, and when I came back with this nasty mosquito bite, which a few days later actually rendered me paralyzed from T2 down. T2 is about your chest level, and that is an amazing moment when all of a sudden you feel incapacitated, and where you're kind of a go-getter and running around and doing all of that, you're stopped. I was at Stanford, and Stanford released me from the hospital after quite an episode in ICU, letting me know that I would never walk again. This was going to be the case. I went to UCSF and I received the same diagnosis, and that just didn't sit very well with me. I'm sort of a well, you're going to give me a challenge. I'm going to think outside of the box, but that's a pretty hard one where you have two large hospitals telling you otherwise. So I started doing some research. I started looking at Eastern medicine, and then I actually, fortunately, connected with this gentleman, Omari. And Omari, to this day, is one of the closest people in my life. Omari had been a junior Olympic sprinter for Jamaica. Imagine that.
Hmm.
And he had, in his course of learning to be in the Olympics and training for the Olympics, had deconstructed how you need to step, walk, run, and the placement of the foot to an art. He came in and he worked with me so I could imagine, without a sensory system, how to move my body, how to transfer weight, and how to move. Today, I'm running on treadmills, I'm doing jumping jacks, I'm doing all sorts of things. But what was truly impossible was only made possible because I found a partner that had a totally different experience, totally different skill set, completely different from mine. And we reimagined what it could be, and we made it possible. And so we had the impact. And after that moment, I knew what true partnership was all about. And that's what I hope, and I hope how Microsoft shows up with our partners, is to reimagine what can be, not just what is.
Nina, that's an amazing story. I first of all just want to thank you for sharing. There's a lot of lessons to pull from that. Sometimes those challenges really are the things that make us see world in different perspective. I'm so glad for you that you were able to overcome such an impossible feat. So congratulations. That was, I'm sure, not without a lot of struggle and determination and hard work. So congratulations.
And
And
help,
again, thank you for
and
sharing.
help, right?
Yes,
Help.
yeah.
Larry, I still text with him. We check in with each other all the time. That's partnership. That's welcoming somebody else in with a different level of expertise and making it happen. So, yeah.
That's terrific. What an ambitious goal too. You know, ambition is something else that we talk a lot about here at Insight. Our whole campaign, our whole brand is around this drumbeat of being ambitious. We really want to encourage clients and partners to, just like you, just look at these challenges, find a fresh perspective, and pursue them with confidence, with ambition.
Mhm.
We're here to support it. So you've already accomplished one ambitious feat. Do you have any other ambitious goals for this year, either professionally or personally?
Well, professionally, I'm thrilled to be at Microsoft. This feels like coming home to an incredible opportunity at this company with amazing technology, amazing people, and really a culture that really will help propel not just the company forward, but our ecosystem forward. So when I think about why I came to Microsoft, and let's call it the ambition I have, is for our ecosystem to be as energized, as thought provoking, as forward minded as we are as a company, and that they feel part of the company or an extension of the company versus on the sidelines of the company. That comes from encouraging our partners to drive deeper in their skill sets, work with them on helping them to differentiate their value proposition so they show up not just as a partner, but I'm a partner with expertise in the financial services industry around AI, for example. And then most importantly, I talk a lot about the success. I'm very focused on impact. And I love and I'm very ambitious about us helping to illuminate all of the success that our customers are having because of the hero motion of our partners. And that to me is probably the most important, is that customers out there see that Microsoft brings a lot to the table, but together with our partners, we make a lot more happen together.
Yeah, that's my favorite part too. It's really hard to explain to people what you do, what your company does, and it's really just about those outcomes, whether you're reducing, patient length of stay or making workplaces safer. I mean, those are solutions that have real consequential outcomes. So I'm with you there. It's more client stories, more success stories, what we love to hear. You mentioned AI.
Mhm.
What's your favorite technology right now? What do you see as maybe having the greatest advantages or greatest impact on our society or on business in the coming years?
Well, I think we're all talking about Chat GPT right now.
For
And
sure.
it is amazing how you rethink the landscape with it. I remember, and maybe it's from growing up in Silicon Valley as a child, I remember when I had my first calculator, or when we had the first compact computer that had the keyboard that came down, and it was, it was yay big, but it was the first portable computer, and you played the decathlon on it with your fingers. The world has come so far. I might say that this is as significant a moment as that. When computing came to the consumer, Chat GPT can change so much. It's It's about how do we help accelerate for a lot of people their communications, their learnings, create consistency. So, for example, I interned years ago, decades ago, I should say, in law firms, right? And you think about all the legal documentation that goes out there. Imagine a lot of that being able to be generated. And then the finesse is on what the attorney actually is arguing in their statements, right? It's the personalization, it's the expertise that we all bring to the table. So a lot of the mechanical work or the basic work can be provided, and it's the magic of what the individual with the skilled person can do on top of that. I just think we're at the cusp of something really, really, really interesting that we don't completely know. I think we have a responsibility around it as well, but we don't completely know what it's all capable of. But we're excited for what it can do.
I'm hearing a lot of optimism and just an embodiment of embracing change from you.
I love change. I love to learn. You
You're in
talk
the right industry.
well, you talk about your core values, and my core values, one of my top three is learning. It's kind of fun. I mean, even in my 40s, I went back and got my MBA. I mean, I was so hungry to learn. I wasn't doing it for work. I was doing it for me to make sure that I kept skilling and kept growing. So that growth mindset is so critical in this world.
Yeah, and speaking of which, what advice, what lessons are you carrying? What would you tell other business leaders as we get further along into 2023?
I think there's a lot of opportunity right now. As we're looking around the market, I think it's really important that we do more listening than telling right now. Listen, uh, spend time in focus groups, spend time with your employees, listen to what people need because in that is the magic. There are individuals that have such valid points or perspectives that we have to be open to the change that's happening right now. Embrace it. We're in a whole new world. Pre pandemic, we were we were all going into the office the same way. We were all communicating. We felt like we had to take these long flights over to Singapore or to New York or wherever it was to meet with a client. And now, from the power of my home office, I can reach those clients in Singapore. What is so important is that just like we all had to embrace the change through the COVID crisis, continuing to look at the changes that are coming and being open to them. That's the best advice that I can give, um, and just being optimistic around what's coming around the corner.
Agreed, agreed. And of course, change management is vital. Just as a final thought before I let you go, because change is so vital and we feel like we're constantly experiencing it,
Mhm.
how do you show up as a leader to I mean, I feel like you're already optimistic and willing to embrace change, but change can be hard for a lot of people. So, how do you help your teams through change?
The biggest lesson I've learned with change is to stop and not just talk about what the change is, but the why, and almost taking a step back to provide the context and the why and the thinking behind even the moment to decide that a change was needed. Or if change is coming from an outside impact, understanding what might be causing that. I think so often we just react to the what and we don't know the why or think about the possibility of the impact that way. So, with my team in particular, and I look at my team as obviously the team that I have within Microsoft, but as well as the team of partners that I have out in the marketplace, um, I think we together are always in this place that we need to stop, listen to each other, and think about what's in front of us and work to solve for that, imagine what's in front of us, and make those changes together.
Good advice. Good advice. Nina, it was such a pleasure to talk to you today. Thank you again so much for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you.
The Tech Journal is a production of Insight Enterprises, Inc., a Fortune 500 solutions integrator, helping organizations accelerate their digital journey to modernize their business and maximize the value of technology. For more information about Insight and how we can help you achieve your ambitious goals, visit us at insight.com.